Good morning, gang. Happy Thursday morning. All right, I'm going to start you with a question here today. You got an extra $750,000 laying around? And does everybody else in your house have that too? That's what it would take to get back to normal. All right, I want to give you this, just some facts for you. All right, we'll start with the U.S. debt. And this is not where I'm going, U.S. debt or anything like that with this. There's a point to all this that I'm trying to make. Each person in the United States, in order to pay off the U.S. debt, would have to write a check to the government. I mean, that's everybody. It's down to your 2-year-old niece, okay? Each person would have to write a check for $994,605. That would pay off the national debt. You want to buy a house? The average house price in the United States right now, $535,800. Yeah, how about that? $500,000 for a house. Okay. Average car? Average price of a new car just hit 50 grand. Okay. 2-car household? There's $100,000. Okay. Average credit card debt in the country? If we took all the credit card debt and divided it amongst everybody in the country, including your 2-year-old niece, each one of us would owe $2,943. So a family of 4, $11,772. Okay. Margin loan. Here's an interesting one for you. You know, that stock market, the thing that's completely fake here. Just to give you a little bit, you know, of what stock, how inflated the stock market is on funny money. U.S. margin debt is $624 billion, right? So if we go into and break this down to everybody, each person in the United States, each person would have to pay $1,862. Okay, family of 4, $74.48. Okay, student loans, $1.7 trillion in student loans out there. Okay, that breaks down to $52.23 per person to pay off all the student loan debt in the country. $20,892. Add just those things up. I mean, I'm not talking about insurance or phone bills or, you know, anything else like that. All right, $770,517 per person in the United States to get this country out of debt. Okay, to get all of us out of debt. Now, we all know why all this is going. I mean, I'll give you this. The average take-home pay in the United States is just over $51,000. So congratulations on your take-home pay for a year. You could buy one car. And all the rest of that stuff you can't do anything for. Okay. This is how far we are into a debt society. Okay, that fiat currency is completely foobar. I mean, there aren't enough dollars. I've explained this a couple of times. There aren't enough printed dollars. If you took every single penny, nickel, dime, quarter, half dollar, silver dollar, dollar bill, 5, 10, 20, 50, 100, whatever it is, and added them all up, the national debt is like 15, 18 times what all the money combined is. So, hey, let's print more, right? That's the idea. Well, I'm going to give you this. This is actually a good thing. We'll see how it happens here. 3 U.S. congressmen, Alex Mooney from West Virginia, Andy Biggs from Arizona, and Paul Gosar from Arizona, have introduced a bill, House Resolution 2435. It's called the Gold Standard Restoration Act, which would basically repeg the dollar to a fixed weight with gold. Okay? So go back, to 1971, 72, when Nixon took us off the gold standard. And before anybody tries to blame Nixon for it, okay, yeah, he got strong-armed into it by the Democrats. Go figure. They wanted us off the gold standard so they could borrow more money. Nothing's changed in 50 years. Okay, spend, 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 spend. Kind of like the same thing they did Social Security. All they did was take everything they have, spend it, and say, okay, now we want to be able to borrow more. These three congressmen want to put us back on the gold standard. Why is this important? Oh, I don't know. You see the BRICS nations trying to come up with a alternate currency. Mind you this, it's not making the yuan an alternate currency or the ruble an alternate currency. They're talking about making a completely new currency that Russia, China, Brazil, India, and South Africa would use. Okay? And all the other countries, some 140 of them, who say, we'd like to be on board. Okay? There's only 190 some odd countries in the United States, or in the world. Okay? Yeah. The dollar's dying, guys. Why? Because it's turning into a worthless piece of paper real quick. How is it going to get more worthless? Well, let's give you this. We all remember the Great Depression. Not that we lived through it, but most of us studied something on it, and a lot of us heard about stories from it, okay? Watched a movie. Whether it's, I don't know, what was the Steinbeck book, Grapes of Wrath, about the Okies and stuff like that. Maybe we read those books, talked about it, something. But, you say the word Great Depression to somebody and they're going to understand what you're talking about. Well, what caused that? Margin debt. Okay? Too many people in the country were borrowing money from the bank to go buy stock. And when the stock collapsed, when the stock market started selling off and they had to come up with margin debt, they didn't have the money. Okay? Then all of a sudden the banks didn't have any money. Then all of a sudden, sorry, you don't have any money. Okay. How many of us, most of us here, lived through 2008, 2009? Unless you're a prepper and you're 15 years old, you remember this. Okay. What was the cause for 2008, 2009? The great housing crisis. Okay. Mortgage crisis. Those that don't learn from history are doomed to repeat it. Okay. You guys might know, might not know, but I'll give you a couple of things here. Bank America has a policy to help minority communities. You have to be a minority, you have to be Black or Hispanic to participate in this, okay? Where you have a zero down payment, zero closing cost mortgage, okay? That your eligibility is based on your income and the home location. There's no credit score and no PMI is required. If you're Black or Hispanic, right? Okay. Great. Let's make buying a house racist. Okay. Sorry. I'm sorry, Mr. Jones, you're white. You require a 720 credit score to buy a house, and you want an FHA loan, that'll be 3% down. Oh, Mr. Smith, you want to buy that house? Well, great. Tell you what, because you're a minority, we don't care about your credit score. You don't have any money? That's no problem. We'll still give you the house. Does this sound like 2008? That's Bank of America, right? How about Wells Fargo? Wells Fargo doing the same thing. Wells Fargo has just recently come out and has decided to expand its retail team in focusing on underserved communities in mortgages. And they're going to invest an additional $100 million to advance racial equity in home ownership. Okay? Because whether or not you can qualify for a house, qualify for a mortgage loan, that doesn't matter. Your skin color, that's everything. I want to know where the fiduciary responsibility is from the banks that go, why are you going out of business? Why are you losing money? Why did the bank collapse? Well, because we decided that people's skin color was more important than their credit worthiness? Yeah, that's pretty much it. this is what you've got going on. If if all the stock on margin on the stock market uh, was called today, you'd have somewhere around a 5% drop in the market, just if you took out the margin. You think about the banking industry, let's see how well this works. Like it did 2008, 2009, and that all collapses. Let's have the banking industry go. Oh, now you're talking another 10% drop in the market. Okay. This is why the three congressmen want to bring us back to the gold standard, because we need to have sound fiscal policy in this country, not only in the government, but in corporations and at the kitchen table. Okay. We've all seen what the price of gold has done here in the last few days. I mean, we had a freaking rocket ship ride in the last month or so. We've gone from the 1800s to pushing new highs here. We're $35 from a new high. Who knows where it's going to be today? It's trading flat at the open. But this is a good measure to get us back on a solid financial footing on the world stage and get the United States, I mean, individuals, yes, and the United States back on solid financial footing. Because this, I can't even say tax and spend policy anymore, because they don't care about collecting taxes. Just like this print more money policy that the Democrats have will be the destruction of everything you own. You know, the spending power of a dollar is 40% less than it was at the turn of the century. 40% less, okay? Has your paycheck gone up 40% since 2000? Probably not. So if your paycheck has not gone up 40% in the last 23 years, you've taken a pay cut. Your standard of living is less than it was when you were 23 years younger, okay? This is why this is important. This is why gold is going up, because I've talked to you many times about all these other countries in the world stockpiling gold, and for some goofy reason, the U.S. is a seller. The other cool thing about this bill, this would require the U.S. government to tell us actually how much gold we do have. Because remember, that hasn't been inventoried since the 1950s. And my bet is there isn't so much as a wedding band in Fort Knox, okay? That we've sold all our gold. We don't have any. This, what is it, 8,000 or I forget what ounces of, or 80,000 or 8 million or whatever the hell it is, ounces of gold we supposedly have. I bet you there's zip. If all of a sudden the U.S. has to go back and buy gold, if this passes, okay, which I pray to God it does, and the U.S. government has to go back and buy all the gold to back all the dollars, and I guess they'd have 24 months, according to this bill, to do it. Imagine what that would do to the price of gold. You'd be talking 30,000 gold. If you own some now at $2,000, that's the return you're looking at. It's what it would take. It's giving you an idea, but that's how much of a mess financially we are and what it would cost to get us out of this hole. Pinball out.